Walk through the meat section of any grocery store and you'll notice the price of beef is on the rise. But despite that and the rapidly growing consumer demand, cattlemen have yet to see that translate into bigger returns for their product.
The cattle industry has been on a roller coaster ride in the recent months, especially with the disparity we've seen in the boxed beef prices versus what the producers are seeing. One thing that we're hopeful for is that, and appreciative of, is that demand, specifically consumer demand, has remained strong. In fact, we actually eclipsed poultry in protein demand over the past few months, and we hope to capitalize on that and continue that forward.
It's an issue the Georgia Cattlemen's Association, as well as state legislation, is very well aware of as they look to strengthen the partnership between the producers and the processors.
One of the things that we've been working on is finding capital sources for processing plants, but also we know that labor is a big backlog, and I know that labor impacts every segment of the American economy right now. We're dealing with a shortfall of the amount of people that are willing to go in and do those jobs day in and day out. And so one of the other things the GCA hopefully will be working on very shortly is a labor training program.
However, that is easier said than done, as the recent pandemic has wreaked havoc on the supply chain. While that issue is slowly starting to resolve itself, GCA is also looking at ways to speed up that process.
We want to make sure that we're not only on the menu, but we want to have a seat at the table. We want to see that transparency from those packers. What are their pricing mechanisms, and how are those going to benefit the producer in the long run? And so we'll continue to work on that. We appreciate all of our Senate and House delegations. I know they've been putting a spotlight on that issue and concern that we've had in the past few months. We continue to hope to move some of that momentum forward as we see what they do in the rest of their congressional session.
Now, despite some of the obstacles that need to be overcome, there is still plenty of reason to believe 2021 can be a strong year for the cattle industry.
I'm optimistic that prices will continue to start to increase for the producer, similarly to what we saw back in the 2014 era. I don't think we're going to get to that top dollar amount like we had in the past, but I think ultimately prices from the producer side should start to incrementally go up. We're excited to see that, and we're hopeful that that will continue. But again, the only way that we can keep meeting that demand is to keep putting that beef on their plate, on consumers' plates, and so we can't do that without strong processing infrastructure.
Reporting from Towns County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.